Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the playoff of the FIDE Grand Prix 2022 in Berlin, Germany. In this playoff, we will feature our very own Wesley So winning against Shankland. Oh my God, Wesley. Too late, the hero. How I wish this is the first leg, yeah, and Wesley winning pool C. But that's life. But no matter what happens, we will always cherish our good friend. Yep. It's all Wesley. Wesley all the way, win or lose. Okay, Shankland was white. Went for d4. Wesley went for knight f6. This is a rapid tiebreak. c4, e6. Best of two, by the way. Knight f3 by Shanky. d5 by Wesley. g3. Okay, we have the Catalan once again. Okay. Positional approach for Shankland in the playoff. Bishop e7, bishop g2, castles, castles. Takes on c4, queen c2. White wants to regain the pawn straight away. Here Wesley played a6. Now let's take a look at b5. If you want to protect this pawn on c4, White has a4. Although it's also possible, right? There's a game by Magnus here against Ding Dong or Ding Liren. It's a possibility. You can go b4 here. And if, let's say, the queen takes on c4, there's bishop h6. Yep. Queen goes back to c2, and just knight b d7. Knight could go to e5, knight takes on e5, d takes e5, then knight d5, and black should be all right. Yep. Because of the bishop here, the knight cannot go d2. Bishop takes e2, right? So I prefer black in that position. So it was also possible to go for b5. Wesley went for a6. That's solid. a4 stopping b5. Bishop d7. Trying to go for bishop c6. Right, bishop c6. Bishop g5, knight b d7. It's not good to play knight b d7 here with the bishop on c8. Yes, it's very passive bishop. Knight will just go d2. Now, where do you put the knight? You cannot go knight b6 here. White has a5, yes. The knight has no square on d7. So it's important to go bishop d7. And if the opponent, for example, plays knight e5 and try to attack b7 here, just bishop c6. This is typical also. Knight takes e6, knight takes e6, and then e3, right? And probably black goes for knight a5, protecting c4, knight d2, and then c5. The rook can go c8. White has bishop pair. White has a bishop pair, but black's development is much better than white because the bishop on c1 is still not developed yet. So queen takes c4, bishop c6, typical bishop g5, knight b d7, knight c3, h6, all right. Bishop d2, yeah, of course, if white continues with takes on f6, the knight will take on f6, controlling e4. A move would be here, rook fd1 is possible. Yeah. Then black can pressure the d4 pawn with ideas of queen d6, e3, and rook d8, right? Okay, here Shankland keeps his pair of bishop. Went back to bishop d2, a5 for Wesley, important, especially in this pawn structure. You have that outpost on b4 later on. Bishop b4, rook fe1, rook e8. All right. Rook e8 is an important move because if the opponent pushes e4, you always have, okay, let's say takes. Black also has takes on e4, rook takes e4, and knight c5. So it's not possible to go for e4 right here. So Shankland went for queen c2 first. He wants to go e4. But again, this is an important move, right? Rook e8. Takes on f3, takes on c6. Rook e d1, queen e7, bishop e3, rook ac8. Okay, the main point of rook e8, for example, is that if the opponent pushes e4, you have e5. Without rook e8, you cannot do that, yeah, especially with the knight on f3 earlier. Okay, takes c6, queen e7, moving out of that pin on the d file. Rook ac8, knight into a2, back to d6, bishop to d2, bishop c7. Although Wesley could play c5 as well. Yes. Because if he takes on a5, then just he takes d4. Where's the queen going? Queen b3 runs into knight c5. If you go to d2 and then e5. Yep. Don't worry about bishop takes b7, just rook b8. Okay, let's say bishop moves back to b2 here. Knight c5, knight b3, right? Should be winning for black. So c5 was a possibility for Wesley. But instead he protected the pawn on a5 with bishop c7. Knight into c3, bishop d6 back. Are we going for a draw? No. Okay, e4. Maybe if Shankland goes back to a2, he would go for c5, yeah. So this bishop c7 probably was just to gain time. Bishop c7, bishop d6, it will give you, if this is 15 plus 10, it will give you additional 20 seconds. So e4, e5, knight into e2, bishop b4, bishop e3, rook d8, centralizing the rook, takes. Queen into c5, exchanging. White's problem is the e4 pawn, right? The queen and the bishop was protecting it. But earlier, you cannot capture e4 straight away because there's knight f5 attacking the queen. And if you go for queen e6, bishop takes e4, queen takes on e4, queen takes e4, rook takes e4, there is bishop b6 right here. Yep. What do you do with bishop b6? Yeah. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, you're in trouble. So Wesley had to play bishop queen c5. Yes, important to play queen c5. Because if the opponent takes on c5, the other knight helps in attacking e4. So you overload on that e4 pawn. Overloading. So queen c5, queen to b3, queen back. Again, it's not yet possible to take. Look at this bishop over here. Takes, rook takes e4, and then knight e6. Double attack on the queen plus the attack on the rookie. So cannot. So Wesley had to go back to queen f8. Knight c5 is coming, attacking the queen, and e4. Square clearance. Right, clearance for the knight of c5, queen c2 back. Finally, Wesley has landed. Knight into f5, rook takes d1, takes on d1, one pawn. One pawn is enough to win the game. Yeah, you don't have to be greedy. Just a pawn. Single pawn. Okay, g6, knight goes back to e3, h5. Yep. Not allowing white to play g4. Knight into c4, queen e7. Okay. Bishop moving back to g2, bishop c5, exchanging, taking away one of the two bishops. Yes. Takes on f6, knight takes f6. All right, white gained back the pawn, but Wesley has this control of the second plus the pressure on f2, the weakest point, with that bishop on c5, rook coming up, the reinforcement on e8. Takes on e2, knight takes b7. Okay, white is relying on this outside pass pawn, but is it fast enough? Wesley said no. Everything is under control. So bishop takes f2, king f1, rook takes b2, hitting the knight on b7. Bishop helps. Is it going to be a scary pawn? Wesley said no. Okay. The pawn against the position of the king, right? The pressure on the king on the first rank, it is much dangerous than this a4 pawn. So a5, Wesley said, no problem, your king is not safe. So rook f2, king g1, rook a2 back, rook f1. Now let's take a look at king f1. Again, rook f2 was just Gaining time move. Yeah, if you want to gain time. Maybe here after king f1 back, Wesley would go for h4, right? Stabilizing the bishop on g3. And then the knight can jump to that square and go f4, right? The knight can help into checkmating here. Let's just take a look at this one. Let's say bishop b5 trying to push, right? You can use this knight also to e4, right? If you go a6, for example, there's rook f2, king goes to g1, there's bishop h2, where the knight protects, and then the knight goes to g3. Shamato, tomato, potato. Okay, three pieces. They can deliver checkmate. So that pawn, nothing. Yeah, no pressure for that pawn. So Shankland went for rook f1, king g7, bishop b5, bishop h2 check, good move. Now the knight comes into play, knight g3 is a mate. Last trick, rook f7, king h6, of course, after rook f7, because you cannot take the rook, and it's just a cheapo. This bishop c4, whoop, right? So king h6, in sense of danger over there. Rook f3, defending g3, but of course, go for g3. Up an exchange, rook behind the pass pawn. Bishop can also go back on b8 to help the rook. So a6, king g5, right, activating the king. King h4, now threatening king h3 and mate on a1. Bishop f1, bishop b8. Now let's say here after king h4, let's just say the knight goes back to a4, blocking the rook, right? Wesley can simply just play e5. We let this pawn promote. Yeah, let promote. King goes to g3. Yep. You promote, checkmate. Yes, king is there instead of the bishop, because the king protects that important g2 and h2 square, while the bishop on g3 only protects h2. Okay, so Shankland went for bishop f1, bishop b8, bishop helps, bishop on a7. Hoo-hoo. That's why he is called Wesley Snipes. There's a sniper on a7. Look at that sniper. Wesley Snipes is there. The real Wesley is here. Rook f2, bishop g2, and now rook c2. Shankland throw in the towel, resign. Wesley is in the semifinals. He will play Amin Tabatabai of Iran. In the other semifinals, it will be Mamijarov and Nakamura. If Wesley wins the semis against Tabatabai and Nakamura against Namijarov, if Nakamura wins, it would be an exciting final, right? The Nakamura and Wesley finals is more exciting than anyone else. Yeah. And we're hoping for that one. Yeah. So even if Wesley does not get that spot, at least winning Nakamura in the finals would be a best case scenario. Yeah. Is it going to happen? We will see in the next few days. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting our channel, Charles Max Chess and Charles Max Entertainment on our Facebook and YouTube channel. This is Coach Oliver. Stay safe, everyone. Bye-bye.